Hey, so welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all my experience with my abdominal myomectomy, which means I was cut open and tumors were removed from my uterus. Just a short way of saying it. It's more similar to like a C-section cut. Just like tumors can develop in your throat, in your breast, mine for some reason developed in my uterus, and I've always known that I've had fibroids. They thankfully have not been an issue for me, but my main reason in having them removed is I had a MRI. And if you are a woman that's experiencing fibroids, I do think an MRI is the most gold standard, definite way of determining how many fibroids you have and also the location. So she scheduled me an MRI, and I had the MRI completed. It was with contrast, and that actually gave me a clear indication of one, what I needed to do for myself as a woman to be healthy. I had no idea I had that many, to the point that it was actually frightening and scary, because I've never hemorrhaged. I've never had uncontrollable bleeding. My periods were always the same, 25 days every month. I would experience maybe the first 2 days of a heavy cycle, and then after that, for the next 3 days of my menstrual cycle, were kind of like a normal tapering off. So it wasn't anything that I needed iron transfusions or blood transfusions, or I wasn't passing enormous amount of blood clots. But the MRI, you guys, showed something that definitely scared the crap out of me, honestly. It was to the point where you couldn't even see my bladder, because the fibroids had pretty much taken over my whole abdominal, my intestines. Everything was covered pretty much. It was if I was almost 18 weeks pregnant. That's how large my uterus was measuring. So after I had the MRI, I'm like, okay, I definitely, if anything, on sanity, excuse me, I can't laugh. I want to get rid of these things. Like, oh my gosh, like I've been battling with them for years. And like I said, I never had any issues. So I'm the type person, well, if it's not broke, then why am I trying to fix something? You know what I'm saying? So to me, it wasn't a big deal to have them. A lot of Black women have them. They may be small, they may be large, and it's also hereditary. A lot of people say, oh, it's what you eat. But I've known people that were on vegan diets that still have fibroids. Women that ate meat still have fibroids. It's just, we're very rude awakening. So after I had my MRI, I was on board. I'm like, I don't care what you got to do. The doctor I originally went to go see after the MRI was to perform it laparoscopically, where they would only have to make 4 or 5 little tiny incisions. However, when the doctor saw my images, he was like, absolutely not. He was like, I wouldn't even be able to get all of the fibroids out, and it would just be a waste of your time. He was like, you might as well just go ahead and have an straight open abdominal myomectomy, get them all removed. Of the amount that I've had, my uterus, y'all, was like pretty much up under my breastplate. Like, the doctor was like, I'm surprised that you're even able to eat or even breathe. So thankfully it was more like a testimony that I'm not experiencing any of those bad things that the doctors will look at the images and would think I should be experiencing those, but thank God I wasn't. So I definitely was like, okay, we're just gonna get this done. I turned 36 on June 23rd. Shout out to my cancers. And I was like, you know what? This is gonna be a gift to myself. I know how backwards that sounds, but if you know anything about cancers or anything about a woman, you pretty much cater and make sure everybody else is good, and you kind of put yourself on the back burner. And this was one of the years that I was like, you know what? I'm about to do this for me. Not even so much to have kids, but just for the sanity of knowing that I have these tumors removed. Like a whole new me, a whole new journey. So fast forward, I was had my surgery date planned, and I'll just go into my experience on how everything happened. So when I got to the hospital, me and my husband had to be there at 4:45 in the morning. The night prior, I had went to Walgreens and picked up this cleaning solution that they told me to get during my pre-op call. And they say you're supposed to wash from neck down with the soap, and then of course don't wash your intimate parts with it. But you're supposed to use that the night before your surgery, and then also the day of your surgery. So we had to be there at 4:45 on July 6, 2023. And I wasn't so much scared at first. I think I was more so sleepy because I was like, oh, I couldn't hardly sleep the night prior. And then we had to get up so early so I could get a shower, get dressed, make it to the hospital by check-in time. So, of course, they sit you down, ask you, do you have a will, living testament? Now, that's when shit really got real, because I'm like, oh, shoot, like I'm having a major surgery. Mind you, I've never had a major surgery besides my wisdom teeth. This was something totally different. This was something that they're cutting through my skin. They're cutting through my muscles. They're actually cutting my stomach open. That's what an open abdominal myomectomy means. So this was definitely a risk that I was willing to take just so I could see the end result. So we went through all the little preliminary questioning, the insurance, blah, 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 blah. All of this was kind of a blur because I'm just ready to get on the other side, meaning after the surgery, during recovery. That's what I was looking forward to. So they go ahead and bring me up. I meet with the anesthesiology team. And first of all, they could not get any blood draw from me. Like, none of my veins was giving them any blood. They had literally stuck me in my hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was about 7 times they stuck me. Finally, this one right here is where they were able to get the actual blood to do some blood testing before the surgery took place. So I was like, Lord, is this a sign? Like, they can't get the man. First of all, the man had to call somebody else in there to take my blood because he couldn't get it after the first 2, 3 tries. Then this man coming in here, I'm thinking the next person, I'm thinking he about to be Captain Say today. And you can't even get no blood drawn either. But finally, this baby right here, it finally gave in and gave him some blood. So I was like, thank you, Lord. So that was done. Then he gave me these wipes that, and my husband, thankfully, not COVID era, he was able to come up in the pre-op with anesthesia with me. So he was in there with me the whole time while they was sticking me. And of course, he didn't like that, but I'm like, shit, we got to get it done. Like, we're already here now. So this is the least, getting stuck by this needle is the least of my worries right now. I just need to get past this so I can have the surgery and we could be on the other side. So yeah, so that happens. Okay, and then next he gives me these 2 antibacterial wipes, I guess you would say, in this sterile form packet. And I had to wipe my stomach for 1.5 minutes with each cloth. So my husband helped me. He kept track of the 1.5 minutes, and I was just wiping. And I was like, arms starting to hurt, but that man was like, wipe. So I was wiping. So finally that part is done. So then I'm back into the bed. He got me on these, of course I had to put on my gown. When I arrived there, I just had on some sweatpants and some sneakers and a t-shirt. They want you to wear comfortable, loose-fitting clothing. So I had on the gown that they gave me at the hospital, and I couldn't have nothing under the gown. So that means I was completely bare ass naked. And he wanted me to tie it in the back. So my back was pretty much open, but again, I was laid down on the bed in the pre-op anesthesia portion. So then he said, well, we're going to go ahead and I met the anesthesiologist. They came in, and they gave me a little patch that was for nausea and to prevent me from being sick or throwing up after the surgery. So they gave me it was like a little tiny little patch that they put behind my ear. Another thing that they did was the anesthesiology nurse, she came in and she was like, I was like, please tell me y'all giving me the good stuff, because at this point I just want to be in la la land and waking up and not remembering what happened. And she was like, well, I'm about to give that to you now. And I remember them wheeling me out the room on the bed, and literally before I hit the hallway out of my hospital room, I didn't remember nothing else. All I remember the next thing was I was waking up in recovery. Thank you, Jesus. Because I was scared. One, I never had major surgery before. And I could have died. A lot of scenarios could have happened, but ooh, I said, God, you gonna see me through, and I believe and I trust in you. And I just remember waking up in the recovery. Whew. I remember waking up in recovery, and the recovery nurse was right on the bed beside me, and she was like, you okay? And I'm still like groggy, like what the hell's going on? Like so she's like, how's the pain? I really don't even know if I was in pain. I think I was just kind of like in shock that first of all, I didn't remember nothing that happened. I was under general anesthesia. Anybody that knows general anesthesia, you're pretty much not breathing. The machine everything is breathing for you. The machine, it's kind of like being on life support. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's what general anesthesia is. You're completely, I think the word is like intubated, or whatever it's called, but you're pretty much out meaning you're not breathing. You got a tube down your throat. The machine is breathing for you. So yeah, when I woke up, I kind of was just like in shock, because I didn't remember anything besides me laughing with the anesthesiology nurse, telling her to give me the good drugs, doc. And I was waking up. It felt like that was like a minute later. My surgery started at 7. It did not finish until 9:30, which it went over 30 minutes. But the lady in the recovery part, that's what kind of got me. She was like, how's your pain? And I'm like, I guess I must have I did tell her pain was not good. And so she was like, well, I'm gonna give you some more fentanyl. You said what? All the stuff I see on the news about fentanyl, people overdosing on fentanyl, baby, I don't want none of that. But it was already too late, not knowing that that's what they used in partial of the anesthesia, I guess. She was like, and I remember her telling me that if she doesn't hear me breathing or see me breathing, she's gonna wake me up so I can start breathing. So now I'm like still in recovery, still kind of out of it from the anesthesia. Now you telling me that I may not be breathing because of this medication that you give me. So y'all, I kid y'all not, I was on that bed like drugged up and all. I was breathing so hard. I know that woman was like, this lady is not playing, but what? You gonna have to wake me up because I ain't breathing? Oh no, baby. I'm like, I already done surpassed the biggest challenge was the surgery. So I'd be damn, I sitting here and can't breathe. So finally they was good. They get me to my hospital room. My mom, my stepdad was there. My husband was there. And Then I'm like, whoa, I'm on the other side. So then when I get there, of course, they got to transition me over to my hospital bed. And I just remember the nurses like, do you want to try to get up? And I just remember before I had this surgery, I kept saying, listen, when somebody asks me, do I want to get up? Baby, you are getting up out this bed. I don't care how you feel, what you may be going through. You gonna get up and walk. Because I read a lot of research that after you have abdominal myomectomy, walking, as funny as it sounds, walking is the best thing for you. So I told her, yeah, I ain't know how in the world I was gonna get up. They helped me get up, but I sure did made them few little steps after they helped me, you know, help get up, because I couldn't, mind you, my stomach had just gotten cut open. The incision that I have is probably about this long, long ways, but I'm glad she didn't have to do it. Oh, that's my grandma. I'm glad she didn't have to cut me like vertical, or is that horizontal? Y'all know what I mean. I'm glad she didn't have to cut me like this. In other ways, she cut me like a bikini cut. And I was worried because how high my uterus was sitting that she was not going to be able to get them if she didn't cut me the long ways. But so I got to my hospital bed, and then that's pretty much it. The main thing, they kept the catheter in me for 24 hours. And I just can't remember the nurses. And I was like thirsty. My throat was hurting. I guess from the tube that they had put down my throat. My throat was hurting like I don't know what. It was just like dry, scratchy. My lips was like dry, parched. I just could not get enough to drink. Like I just wanted drink. So the first night, of course, they kept me on a liquid diet, which was fine because I had no appetite whatsoever. That broth was like, first of all, it was warm to my throat, and it was like the best thing that they could have prescribed for me to do at that time. Pain, I really didn't have pain. It was more so I couldn't get comfortable in the bed. Like my lower back was hurting. I couldn't really move because you don't really realize how much you use your stomach for in pretty much a lot of movements until your stomach is out of commission. So I had to rely on using like my arm strength to maneuver me over in the bed, scooch me up in the bed when it was time to get out the bed. And I think that was the most part that kind of worried me was later on that night, the nurses came in and they were like, honey, do you want to walk? And I'm like, yeah, I want to walk. Y'all, when I tell you I tried my hardest, and my husband, he was over there, he was like, only if you feel comfortable, babe, then walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't overdo it. So I'm like, no, but that's the only thing they said, you know, research says gonna get me up. Y'all, I tried to get up out that bed. I could not get it. It made me sad to the point that I felt defeated because I saw a lot of people saying, oh, I got up and walked a few hours, and I didn't get up and walk. Now, mind you, I transitioned myself to my hospital bed, but that was on like one, two step, not no full, like getting up out the bed, walking down the hall. Like I didn't do none of that for the first 24 hours. And so that really kind of like, no, back. I didn't do that at first. I did walk the 24 hours. So night shift came. That's what it was. The day shift nurses bedside manners were not as good as the night shift. So when the night shift came in, it was 2 black girls. I was so proud of my sisters. The nurse, she was like 25, she said. And then the CNA that was there, the tech, I think she was like maybe in her 30s. But so the tech is the one that helped me get up. She was like, we're going to lower your bed and we're going to pull your back part up. So really all you're doing is swinging your feet around. When your feet come around, you're already up. Use your arms to try to push yourself and then lift to stand up. Now, why couldn't the first shift say that? Because first shift was like, watching me. They ain't help me move my legs. They ain't help me move my bed. I was just kind of confused. First of all, I ain't never been in a hospital bed. Thank you, Lord. I hope I never see one again until we have these babies. But yeah, I'm like, the first shift was just looking at me like, when you gonna get up? And I'm thinking like, no, fool, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. My legs feel heavy. My stomach feel crazy. Like, so the night shift was when she helped me get up and I got up out that bed. Walking wasn't even the hard part. It was more so getting out the bed that was the most challenging part. But the way she had taught me how to move the bed panels, lower the legs so the legs is closer to the floor for you, and then push your back part up. So that way you're kind of sitting halfway up already. Only thing you're doing now is just swinging your legs off the edge of the bed and positioning your arms to lift you up. So once I got up, oh, I was good. I was so happy. I felt so good. My husband, I want to say my husband might have been asleep. Y'all, when I tell you, I thank God for him. He didn't leave my side not once. Still got up and went to work the next day. Slept in a uncomfortable looking recliner. Ate the hospital food with me. But my husband did not leave my side not once. They were coming in around the clock, checking my vitals, checking my blood, checking my blood pressure, checking my temperature, and all throughout the night. And he would still get up the next day and go to work. So I stayed, literally, my surgery was Thursday. By Saturday, I technically was ready to go home because they had removed my catheter the next day. So I had my catheter in for 24 hours. But then once I got up and walked that night, I was like, oh no, take this catheter out because I need to be able to get up and go use the bathroom. Like, so they took the catheter out, or the Foley, or whatever you want to call it. That made me get up and use the bathroom a lot because I was just drinking a lot of water. Like, I just felt like I just could not get enough water. I was just so doggone thirsty. They also gave me these little cuffs for my legs to kind of to prevent any blood clots. So like they were like leg wraps almost, and they would kind of remind me of a blood pressure pump. They would get tight and then it would release, tight and then release. So I slept with those on, which became a real big issue because by the time I took the Foley out and I had to pee, now I gotta call somebody to come help me remove these things off my legs because I really couldn't like bend down or nothing. They also gave me this little breathing. I'm gonna get that too. I got on this abdominal binder. But they gave me this to take as well at home and while I was at the hospital. And you see I'm breathing now. But so with that, you just trying to keep your lungs, because your lungs were literally, you know, at the lowest capacity because the machine, like I said, is breathing for you when you're under that type of anesthesia. So my lungs were kind of weak. So they gave me that. Pain wasn't really that bad, y'all. Like, I was able to tolerate only using ibuprofen, and I think it was something called like tramadol. So they did ibuprofen, tramadol, and a stool softener, because I remember real big that you gotta either poop, do number 2, or you gotta pass gas, because they want to make sure your bowels are working, because they just pretty much opened your stomach up, took your uterus out, and they wanted to make sure everything is positioning and functioning properly before you go home. So my bladder was good because I was intaking a lot of water, and they measure your urine output once they take the catheter out. So I did good on that. So that was like the next day when they took the catheter out. I was up, I was determined, and they had this little champion board where when you walk through the hallway, you get to put like a little chip by your room number to show that you walked the halls. When I tell you I was killing it, I had about 4 or 5 things. I was like, yo, walking helped with the gas, because I noticed when I would lay down, I would have gas pain. And it was to the point where I was like, shoot, I gotta let this gas out. Like, I know that sounds so disgusting, but listen, when you facing some gas pain and you just came out of surgery, like, releasing it be the best feeling ever. So I was drinking soda. I was getting up walking, because the walking actually helped move everything around. So the next day, they cleared me. After 24 hours, they cleared me to go ahead and have solids. I still didn't really have no appetite, but I wanted some oatmeal, because I was like, oatmeal got fiber. That's going to kind of help my bowels to move too, because I didn't have no bowel movement the whole 24 hours. I had one the day prior to having the surgery, but not since having the surgery. I never had a bowel movement. So I had some oatmeal. They had bought me up some oatmeal, and I asked for some peanut butter. My grandma got me hooked on that. Oatmeal and peanut butter is like the best combination. So I put the little peanut butter in the oatmeal, and I took a few little bites out of that, and that was good. So then for lunch that next day, I just really wanted broth. I didn't really have no taste for anything else. As the days progressed, I obviously started to get like some taste back where I wanted to actually have food. Thankfully, I did not get sick. I don't know if it's because that thing they put on my neck or whatever, but I didn't throw up. I was able to eat solid foods and keep them down. I actually had a bowel movement on my doctor. She's excellent. So she came and saw me, of course, the day when I was in the hospital after I had the surgery. She came and saw me the next day, and then the next day after that, which was Saturday. And so Saturday, I really was like pretty much okay to go home. Because I was getting up, moving around well. I was walking the halls. I was using the bathroom. I had already had a bowel movement. Me, though, I'm the kind of person where I err on the side of caution. I was like, no. Me and my husband was like, no, we're going to stay one more day, because the worst feeling is to get home and then now you got to be rushed back to the hospital because something wrong. So we stayed an extra day. So I didn't get discharged until Sunday after the surgery, which is completely fine. I'd just rather be at the hospital opposed to being at home and something happened and now we got to run all the way back to the hospital. So I'm like, no, I want to leave when I feel comfortable. So Sunday, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. They gave me some mesh underwear, which was so comfortable. I asked the lady, I said, can you give me a few more? Because I just could imagine like coming home, I don't have no underwear that's gonna fit all, like pretty much you need like maternity underwear or 2 times your size underwear, because most people wear underwear that fit their body, but you got to remember your stomach is very tender at that time. So I didn't really want anything on my stomach. So those mesh underwear was really, really comfortable because I didn't feel it. So that's that. When I got home, I had bought these little orthopedic pillows I had found off of Amazon, and my husband, he set up the couch downstairs real good for me, and that was uncomfortable. I tried to sleep. I think I slept there twice, and then I was like, no, I need to go upstairs and see if I can get in the bed. So I tried laying in the bed, which again wasn't too bad, y'all. It's just the getting in and out of bed. That's like the only challenge. Using the bathroom, well, I thought using the bathroom was gonna be hard, but that wasn't hard. It was just getting in and out the bed. I don't know why that's still, and let's see, today Tuesday, so I'm 1 week and 2 days post-op from my surgery, and I'm walking very good. We got stairs in our house, so I'm moving up and down the stairs very well. Using the bathroom very well. I'm still taking just ibuprofen and extra strength Tylenol. She told me I can do those in staggered doses. So like I do extra strength Tylenol, and then I'll do like an ibuprofen a few hours later. Then I pick back up with the Tylenol. But honestly, I don't know if my pain tolerance is high or whatever, but I haven't really needed to take it that often. I kind of just maybe take it once or twice a day, especially if I know I've been on my feet. Like, I made dinner in my first week home, swept my, because really they don't give you your only restrictions, well, what my doctor gave me was not lifting anything 10 pounds or more for 6 weeks. No vigorous activity for 2 weeks. But literally, your body's going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Like, when people came to see me, they thought I was going to be like, out of it. No, I'm up moving around. Like, because my body is allowing me to do so. And when I needed to take a break, I take a break. Today, I feel like, let's see, I'm going to cook dinner again tonight. Like, we had some family come over. They made dinner for us. And then, let me go back. The ride home, y'all, from the hospital. One thing I would definitely recommend when you're on your way home, to have a pillow that you can sit on top of, and have you a little small pillow that you can use to kind of use compression wise. Because when I tell you I felt every bump that Charlotte has on its roads, I literally felt everything. And it felt like my insides was just doing this, just a moving. And to the point where I thought I was going to be sick. Because I was like, and my husband, he was trying to do his best not to, but it's Charlotte, potholes everywhere. I mean, it was just hard to avoid. But he did his best trying to not go over so many bumps. But it's kind of sometimes hard to ignore when all the streets are like that. But yeah, that was one thing I would definitely say. Of course, they gave me abdominal binder. And let me see if I can. So the binder is, I have on 2. Because the first one they give you from the hospital is really, really big. And so I have on the one that I bought and then the one the hospital gave me. In total, y'all, they removed, and I'm really scared to say, they removed 40 tumors out of my uterus. 40. 40 tumors. I am going to leave some pictures. FYI, if you're squeamish, you probably don't want to look at them because they are freaking disgusting.